Yes, good evening. I'm Tanvi, your host for today. Welcome to our masterclass by My Ways. Today we are going to talk about technical interviews with Mr. Saurav. Mr. Saurav is an active member in the community. He's currently working with Oracle Cloud and he's an alumni of IIT Kharagpur Masters 2017 graduate. Mr. Saurav, are you here?
Yeah, Tanvi. Hi, hello
Yes.
everyone.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for joining in. And thank you for all 106 of you who have joined in today to listen to him and to us to talk about interviews. Please feel free to ask any questions. Use the chat box at any point of time, and we'll make sure that we are answering all the questions that you have. We can maybe send if any are left, you can send us an email, and we'll be happy to help you after the session also. Just to start with, maybe if I can get a round of an introduction, people who are here who have joined in the chat box, if you can tell which colleges are you from, what are you basically looking for? Do you have any particular companies where you have upcoming interviews where you're for which you're preparing? Yes. Hi, Vedanta. Yes, you can unmute and speak, or please be everyone. Please, oh, the chat is yours.
Microsoft.
Okay, awesome. Okay, Rakib from SSM College, BTech second year, awesome. Hi, Rakib. Yes, Kundan, hi. IGDTU, okay. NITJ, okay. We have a lot of second year students. Hi, Mohan. Okay, yes. Few people are raising their hands, okay. If you want to speak, you can just unmute right now since not many people are speaking. CIT College, SCET, IGDTU, okay. Great. Okay, awesome. IIT Roorkee, Metallurgy, great. Fourth year, Ayush, hi Ayush. Awesome, great. I'll start. So just a brief introduction to my ways. I don't know how if you are attending our session for the first time or you have attended some of our sessions before. So we are basically a growth hub for technical students where we are trying to bring to you maximum value through mentors, through projects, through learning, and through introspection by through our technology, which we call as the employability positioning system, which acts as a GPS for your career navigation. So most of our services are free. Please feel free to check out the website and basically explore the platform. To start with the session, I'll pass it on to Mr. Saurav, who will be talking us through all the do's and don'ts and the recommended questions that you can prepare. He'll be also talking about how to basically prepare for some of these questions, and you can ask him any questions that you want. Right? Over to you, Mr. Saurav.
Let me turn on the video. Yeah.
Hi.
Hey, hello everyone. Happy New Year.
Right. Happy New
Hope
Year.
all of you are doing well during this time. So, yeah, let me just share my screen and we'll.
We have many people from IIT Roorkee and second year, third year. Okay, great.
Okay, I believe you guys are able to see my screen now. Okay. So, so before I start about this topic, so let me first talk about how you will end up in an interview, right? So before you proceed to interview, give interviews, different rounds. First, you need to get the interview call, and uh, then you can start from there. So behind the scenes, there are so many things you have to prepare for. Let's talk about the first thing, that is your resume building, right? So resume building, I would say it's an art, and like either today or maybe down the lane 5 years or 10 years, you have to build this art. There is no other way. So let me tell about how people write their resume. So I have seen many different types of resume people write, starting from one pager CV to 10, and like even people sometimes provide. So I have seen people with 10 years, 15 years of experience, they write everything in one page. I have seen people with just graduating from colleges or maybe 1 or 2 years of experience, they're writing 7 or 8 pages of content in their resume. So let's talk about what is the ideal way of writing your CV. So I believe all of us actually watch movies, right? So in movies, hey, before I move, Janvi, are you able to see my full screen or just the slide? So
No, no, the full screen is visible. The below notes are also visible.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, now it's
Now I think it's better, right?
yeah, 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 yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So let me resume from there. So what's the ideal way of writing your CV? So all of you may, or I believe everyone watch movies. So how they like buy their or sell their movies to us? So they first provide you. Okay, so first what they do, they provide you with the trailer, right? So you watch the trailer, and after watching, if you feel it's interesting, you actually go to the movie theater or go to the platform like Amazon Prime or Netflix and watch the movie. So your CV is the same as the trailer. You don't have to put everything, because no one is that much interested to read each and every word of your CV. So what they want to take a look into your resume and see if there is anything interesting or not. So if you have done anything, just put a two liners or one liner maybe, with just the brief of it, so that people get, or you create the interest out of it, so that people come and ask you, hey, what you have done on this. So that's the main motto of your resume, not writing everything, right? So that's where how you should prepare your resume. Now, so once the resume is prepared, now you prepare for the interview, and you move to the different rounds of interview. So let me move ahead into this slide. So I have very minimal slide with minimal details, so that I can talk more, and I want to give more time to you guys, so that if you have any question in your mind, you can come and ask. So don't be shy. You can ask questions anytime, or you can post your questions on the chat. I can pick from there. So first, before you move to any interview, you have to understand who you are. So I believe some of you here say that you are a technical person who is going for the interview. Absolutely correct. Some of you will say that you are the interviewee. Absolutely correct. Some of you may say that you are the probable or upcoming employee of that company. That's also right. So all these answers are actually right, but you are way more than that. And what is it? So I would say it's a one-man company. Why I say that? So the reason is, so at the beginning of this session, Janvi gave a nice introduction of like for my ways and for me, both of us, right? But and then I started this thing. So this whole uh, platform, if you see, so there are multiple people are associated. So similarly, if you think about any company, how it runs, so there are CEOs, CTOs, architects, designer, engineers, sales guys. So they do the whole purpose of the company is to create a product and sell the product. Who gives the roadmap? It's the CEOs, architects. They create the roadmap. The developer, the engineers, they build the product, and the sale guys and the marketing guys, they do the hard work at the end, and they sell the product to the customers. But here, when you are in an interview, you are everything. Who will give you the path how to prepare? It's you. You have to prepare, right? So you are the CEO, you are the architect. What you are going to sell? You are going to sell yourself, your knowledge, but you know what you can do. So you are the product, and who is going to sell for you? Nobody else. It's again you, right? So you have to do everything. So you have to master all these skills. Then only you can uh, go to an interview, impress the interviewer, and get the job. So you have to learn all these skills uh, to crack the interview. Right. Now, if I move to the next slide, so I'm going to talk about the generic structure of interviews. So usually, some companies take 3 to 4 rounds of interviews. Some companies take around 6 rounds of interviews, right? So more or less, they look like this. So usually they have. So recently, companies may have a online round where a hacker rank or hacker earth link is given to you. You have to code there. Once that is cleared, you have to attend data structure, algorithm, and problem solving round. In some companies, 1 round, or in some companies, it's 2 round. So for preparing for this round, so I believe there are enough resources out there. So I'm not going to go deep inside how you prepare it, what you prepare, because that itself will take another more than one session. But how and what kind of interviews these are, what kind of questions being asked, and how to approach these interviews, that I'll talk about. So as all of you know and understand that in these kind of rounds, mostly they ask data structures like it could be array, it could be map, it could be tree, it could be linked list, these kind of questions, or maybe heap, or what the different every different kind of data structure that we have. So they always ask questions around that, and they create a problem statement out of it, and they ask you to solve it. Now, what is the expectation from the interviewer? So sometimes the interviewer, as these are the early interviews, and a solution or optimal solution can be provided. So they all, most of the time, they expect you to come up with a solution, and like some of the time with the most optimal solution, and then you have to write the code. Some companies prefer that you have to run the code as well, but not all. Some companies is also fine if you just write the code and it works. You can just do the dry run, you don't have to run it. Correct. So this is about the DSN problem solving round. Now, how to approach the questions? So when the question is given to you, it's don't directly jump into the optimal part of it. You just try with the very basic or brute force solution that you know or you can come up with. Once you come up with the brute force solution, then you have enough confidence to move ahead. Then try to optimize it and give the solution to the interviewer. Don't, even if you are not, if you are not 100% sure that in first go you can write the very optimal solution, don't go for it. Okay. Let's come to the second part, that is the system design round. So this round is a little bit different from the first one. As I said in the first one, always possible to provide a right solution. But in system design, there is no right or wrong solution. So there are trade-offs saying that, okay, if I design the system like this, it may work for certain scenarios or certain use cases. But for different use cases, maybe the design is different. And so so if you think about different platforms like Flipkart, so they sell products, right? If you think about a platform like Hotstar or Netflix or YouTube, so what they do they stream videos. So the latency that needs, the bandwidth it needs, the internet speed it needs, the way the data should be transferred is actually different for all of these. So when a question asked to you, first thing you should do is basically clarify everything. Every piece of details you need to be clarified, right? Once you have all these details, try to come up with the basic solution. Don't jump into, okay, I need a load balancer, I'll add a load balancer, I'll need proxy server. Don't come up with these things initially. Just create a structure, basic structure, like you need a server, you need to a user to hit the server, you need some data in the database, and that's all. Once you feel okay, it looks good, then add the complexity on top of it. That what if I have millions of users? What if I have billions of users? Okay. And again, in system design interviews, there could be two different things. Like it could be HLD. So HLD means high level design, or LLD, low level design. So low level design, mostly people expect you to define the APIs, and sometime you need to write the object oriented structure, like maybe design a parking lot. So what objects, what classes, what interfaces you need. And then they come up with follow-up questions. Is it extendable? So again, in the low level design also, first try to draw everything. Like I need these 5 classes to design a parking lot, let's say. And then after providing this solution, then say that, okay, if I add this part as a complexity, okay, then I need to modify the design here. I need 2 more classes, and the structure of these 2 classes would be little different, right? So in system design round, don't ever bother about whether your solution is correct or not, because there is no correct solution. But rather you should say there are 3 options: option 1, option 2, and option 3. Option 1 works for this use case, option 2 works for this use case, option 3 works for this use case. Now ask the interviewer a question like, okay, if you have a use case, maybe I can say which one works better, right? So you provide all the trade-offs of each of your design and ask the interviewer which one would be most suitable according to his use case, or what is the use case, right? So this is how system design round works. And the expectation from the interviewer is not to have a design which will work in production. So the idea here is to understand how comfortable you are adding complexities to the system and how you actually solve those complexities. And if you can provide 2-3 different trade-offs, that would be really enough for cracking that interview. Let's move to the third round. So the third round is hiring manager. So this is a again little different than other two. In this round, the manager may ask you some technical questions. Mostly what they do, they ask questions from your current project if you are an experienced candidate. If you are from college, then they may ask from your college projects as well to understand. So the idea of this round is to understand whether whatever you have done till date, what you claim, whether you understand those details correctly or not. So if you say, okay, I have designed a hotel website, okay, so they may ask all the details like how you have designed, why you have designed the database this way, why not the other way, and everything, so that they can understand that whether you are creating a story out of it or really you have designed that part, and how in details you understand those specifics. Okay, other than that, in this round they ask some questions which are kind of scenario based, like tell me a scenario when you faced deadline, like critical deadline, and how have you managed it. Or maybe tell me a scenario when there were conflicts in a team and then you manage that scenario. So those are situational questions, so that they try to understand if a certain situation comes, how you will react to that situation, whether you will panic in a hard deadline, or you will try to like convince people, okay, this is a hard deadline, I'll try to complete it, but there may be scenarios I may miss 10% of the features. So they try to understand those part. The fourth that comes, so some of the FANG companies and other big MNCs also started taking this interview. They call it culture fit. So the goal of this round is to understand how you fit into their culture. Some companies have like a work which is going slowly over a year, over 2 years, and something like that. Some companies have aggressive strategies, so they want to deliver things very fast. So whether you will be able to cope up with this culture or not. And in this round also, it could be of 30 minutes to 1 hour. They will ask you all these questions, like the same what I said in hiring manager, like if you have critical deadline, what you will do, if there is any conflict with a manager, or maybe your architect with design decisions, how you will convince. You have developed something and after 6 months things are not working well, what you will do. So all these situation based questions will be asked in this round as well, and they are also trying to understand mentally whether you fit with this culture or not. So if all of these goes well, I guess the goal that you started with, like getting the job, you are in the right path. So there are few things that you need to keep in mind while you are in the interview process. So the do's that you should always do, or I would say must do, and there are few points that should not be done during the interview. So I'll talk about those now. So when a question is given to you, always ask follow-up questions. Never assume anything. Ask follow-up questions, get as much details as possible from the interviewer. He is there to give you all these details. Once you get all these details, then you start with the solving the problem. Otherwise, what happen, he is explaining you the problem, and maybe you have already solved that problem, and but what he is trying to give you is little different, but you assume something, you want to say wrong direction, and you end up messing up with that round. So always ask follow-up questions even if you are aware of it. Okay, next, listen patiently. So when you are asking questions, then when the interviewer is giving you all the details, please listen carefully. Possibly you can take notes, write down all the points that he is saying that you have need to implement, and then ask the another follow-up questions if you have, but don't interrupt. So if you are interrupting, you may miss some of the information from there. Third, try to think loud. So this is one of the important thing that you should do. If you are I have given you the problem, if you are just thinking it for next 10 minutes and 15 minutes, if you don't say anything, both of us will lose the interest, right? But if you think loudly, it will help the interviewer to understand which direction you are going. And if you are going into a wrong direction, they may provide you some hint, or they may say, okay, maybe you are going towards a wrong direction, please think about this sub problem or from this perspective. If you can't think loudly, like when you are thinking, if you can't talk, that is also a behavior within us. So that may, you may have a certain behavior like that. Ask the interviewer that please give me 10 minutes, let me think through it, and I'll come back, so that he is aware of it, that okay, you need 10 minutes to think, and you won't say anything. Just make that like. Now always, as I said, when the problem is given to you, start with the brute force. In that way, at least you have a solution. If then, when you have the brute force solution that works, go with the optimal strategy, find the optimal strategy. If you are during the interview, when you are solving something, if you think that you are blocked and you are not able to move any further for more than 10 minutes, always ask for a hint. Asking a hint is not a crime, and it doesn't add any negative value to that scenario. Rather than not solving the question, it's always better to solve the question with a hint, and that will be counted, right? So always, if you are blocked somewhere, you are not finding any solution, ask for a hint from the interviewer, and he would be happy to help you. The third and last point, sell your strengths. So you know where your strengths are. What are the things you can do better? Like you do good. What are the things that you are best at? So try to always move your solution towards that. Let's say you are very good at how LVs work. I mean, the load balancer works, how the different server works. So when a system design question is given to you, try to explain more in details in those parts, right? So that you are actually showing them, okay, you have this knowledge and you are creating a or designing a system which will work very good in those scenarios. So wherever your strengths are, try to spend more time over there, try to explain more details over there. That will help you. Now coming back to the don'ts. As I said, don't assume anything. So that's the golden rule. Never assume. The second is never ask. So yeah, this is one of the interesting point where I want to talk for 1 to 2 minutes. I have seen people ask after the interview, so 5 minutes given to them. Okay, so if they have any questions, they can ask. So many uh, people ask how my performance was, what improvement can be done in the interview, and so on. Whether my solution was right or not. What is the right solution to it? Don't ask all these questions. If you have given a right solution or a solution to the interviewer, right? So when you ask what is the right solution to it, you are giving an impression that you are not confident that your solution is right. Even if the interviewer was impressed with you, okay, you have given a right solution to him or her, but when you ask that question that whether my solution was right or not, he gets the impression, okay, you are not confident enough about that. About your performance, it's good to ask that question to HR if they provide details. Most of the time they won't. That's absolutely fine. But don't ask at the end of the interview about your interview experience or performance or the answers. So what should you ask? So after giving the interview, your impression should be you will be hired, right? So ask questions what you will ask if a offer letter is given to you, like how the company culture over there, what are the different technologies they use, what are the biggest challenges they have and they are trying to solve. Because if you are joining a company, I guess at least 1 year or maybe 3 to 5 years you're going to stay there, right? Ask for the roadmap for next 1 year, what the biggest problems or challenges they are having and they are going to solve. So these questions create a positive attitude and environment towards the end of the interview. And when the interviewer write your feedback at the end, that creates a huge impact over there. Last and the third don't is don't guess answers. So when a question is given to you and you don't know anything about it, but you want to guess, right? Obviously. So don't arbitrarily guess the answers. First, tell them, okay, I'm not aware about this thing, but let me try it out or let me guess, and then guess the answer. So in that way, you are showing a mutual respect towards the interviewer that, okay, I don't know the answers, but can I guess or let me guess, right? In that way, they also know you are guessing the answer. So if you are going towards the right direction, they will continue. If not, they'll stop there, right? But don't just when a question is given to you, just randomly don't start guessing. That creates a very bad impression towards the interview. So exactly. So what I have talked till now, so the moral of the story is in 99% cases, the interviewers are not looking for the perfect candidate. So what the interviewers are actually looking for a candidate who can work with their products in a certain environment, and that's all. You could be 20% perfect, you could be 40% perfect, you could be 60% perfect, right? But no one is looking for a 100% perfect candidate to match that role. So that keep that in mind. You don't have to give all your answers 100% correct to crack an interview. So when you keep this thing in mind, your interview process becomes very easy. Maybe you have given a wrong answers here and there, that doesn't count. So that's all from my side. So now I'll be opening up for every one of you. So if you have any questions, please ask.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Saurabh. Thank you so much for the lovely insights. Right, we're open for questions. I also have some pre-submitted questions that people have submitted through email. Uh, People here first, I think I'll give the opportunity to you, whatever you want to ask, even if you have some specific questions regarding your journey, or if you want to get know how to answer some specific questions in your mind, we will be happy to talk about that also. Also, please feel free to unmute yourself and also ask. That's also okay with us. You can raise your hand and I'll call out your name. Okay, so Jackbone is asking, after HR round, why do we get rejected? What are the possibilities that can go? What are basically the situations that can go wrong in an HR round?
Yeah. Yeah. So Jackbone, like all the rounds are actually eliminating round, whether it's a HR round or technical round or the hiring manager round. It doesn't matter. So HR round, they try to see whether, as I said, culture fit round, it's similar to that. So they try to see whether you fit in that culture or not. So sometimes they just look at your communication skill. So maybe you need to communicate with the client so many times. So even if your technical skills are very good, maybe your communication is not that great, that they think that you won't be able to communicate properly with their US clients or UK clients. So that could be also the reason behind those things. So don't assume that HR rounds are just a formality. People also get rejected in these rounds.
Okay. Now, am I less audible or Mr. Saurabh is less audible? Okay. I think I'll move. Okay. Okay. Document verification. Maybe we can. You should connect with somebody on LinkedIn also to
Yeah.
get a specific answer about Cognizant. Maybe they were looking for some specific things. Check the job description. You'll get a better idea of that part also. Right. So I have a question in about how important is competitive programming for interviews, considering one's target company is a product-based company.
Okay. So for product-based companies, I think it's become a de facto that computing programming is must, right? So even if they have 3-4 rounds, out of those you will get a hacker rank or hacker earth link where you have to do competitive programming. Even first 1 or 2 rounds, those are again whether we call it DSA problem solving or competitive round, it's the same thing, right? So irrespective of whether you are in first year or you have 5 years of experience, everyone gets treated in similar way in the competitive programming. So I would say if you are targeting for an interview in next even in 1 year, please continue the competitive programming. Maybe daily one or weekly ones, but don't just keep it for a longer time, because in that way it takes time to again start with, right? So yeah, competitive programming is really important for product based companies.
Okay. So I am somebody's asking. So I am preparing for my placement interviews. Um, what should I focus more on? Development preparation or problem solving preparation?
So Tanvi, I'm not clear about what he or she means by development
So the
preparation.
coding practice is what? So should I practice coding more or DS algo like questions more?
Okay, so if you are graduating from college, then obviously your problem solving and these things are tested more rather than your the development. So if you have developed already a few things as a part of your like college project, just try to get those details, get what architecture you have used, how you have designed the whole system, and get all these details, because they will ask all those details to you. They won't ask you to write the same thing again. So try to improve your computing coding, try to improve DSA problem solving, and then try to have a storytelling around your projects that you have in your CV. And don't just try to create it on the fly. Write it down before the interview, read it 2-3 times so that you have everything in your mind, so that you can do a storytelling. Okay, this is the was my problem statement and this is how I solved this project.
Okay. So the next question is, what are the most commonly asked questions that I can expect in a technical interview in a fan company they're asking,
Okay.
or
Okay.
any company? Yeah.
Yeah. So there are thousands of questions out there, but what I would say that mostly what you should do is, don't when you are preparing, don't prepare the difficult data structure first. Don't do that. Try with the very basic things like linked list, stack, queue, array. Because who are the interviewers? That's the first thing you have to understand. They are the one of us, right? They are not coming from a different planet or something like that. So they also prepare from the same materials day in day out, and they will ask the questions from there. So you ask first, prepare with the basic data structures, and then when you feel confident about those, try the complex one. But one of the I would say array related questions are really really important for any kind of companies, because there is a huge variety on that. So the basic data structures like array, map, stack, queues are more important than graph. Maybe out of 25 questions, you may get one graph questions, but 10 questions will be from array or stack queue, something like that.
Okay, thank you. So Rajan is here. He's asking which company is better, a product-based company or a service-based company?
Okay, so I don't know how Rajani will define a company is best or not. So in my opinion, there are good and bad in both the companies. So when you talk about product-based companies, the good thing is you are building a product that will be used by so many customers. right? And it would be sell to maybe millions or billions customers around the globe. So the scaling part would be huge over there. But maybe if you are working on the same product for 10 years, your technology stack may not change. And maybe you are using a technology which was a great technology 10 years back, but not today. So you may end up working with old technologies. In service-based companies, you work with projects with 6 months, 1 year, and maybe 2 years. You build something, you give it to your client, you get a new project. So every time you get a new project, you are getting opportunities to work with new technologies. So it's a balance, but again, based on your priorities, like where you want to work, what kind of salary you expect, and so on. Based on that, you choose the company.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is by Ashil Kumar. He's asking which programming language is good or which is preferred in competitive programming and why.
Okay, so most common languages that been used by the community is Java, C++, and Python that I have seen till now. Uh, Based on your comfort level, you can choose which language you want to use. But again, if I had to give that trade-off, C++ is like a little old, and nowadays hardware companies or product companies who have written their code in 20 years back, they use it. So knowing C++ is good. If you want to continue with that, that is also good. But if you are learning a programming languages for the computing programming, I would prefer you start with Python, maybe, because if you compare Python with Java or C++, the time you need to write the solution in Python, maybe 10 minutes. If you write the same solution in Java or C++, it takes 20 to 30 minutes. So you are saving so much time for yourself.
Okay, awesome. Right. So Ayush is asking, I think Ayush is the name. Sir, if a situation arises where we don't know the answer to a specific question asked by the interviewer, should we say so or should we try to answer even if we aren't sure about the answer?
Okay, so if you are not sure about the answer, so I'm just again assuming the question is a very not a problem solving or something like that, because in problem solving round you may not know the answer. You discuss the problem, you try different solution, and then you get the answer. So but if it is a subjective questions given to you and you don't know the answer, because in subjective question you can't just create an answer, right? Either you know it or you don't know it. So if it is a subjective question, just say upfront, I don't know it, but let me guess what I can find out, and then provide your answer.
Okay, okay, awesome. So I have a pre-submitted question which says any last minute tips to prepare for an interview. I have not really prepared for an interview before I have my first interview. So any last minute tips I should brush up or how should I cope up?
Okay, so I would say if you have not given interviews for a long time, the first thing you should do is give an interview. That's the starting point, because then you will understand where you are. Because sometimes happens, you prepare for 1 year and you think you are well prepared, suddenly you give 2 3 interviews and you understand the, type of question asked by the interviewer is in a different level. So again you have to brush up things. So if I would say, just give an interview, brush up the basic things and go to the interview, and take notes the areas of improvement for yourself.
Right. So Pooja is asking which programming language is best, Python or Java to survive? I think you just answered this.
Yeah. So Pooja, you don't have to survive in the industry. Whatever, even if you don't know any programming language, there are enough opportunities and you will survive. So don't worry about it.
Great. So Ankit is asking about Web3. We have so many questions in our like daily community chats also. What would you say about Web3? Is it worth a like? What is your
Okay.
opinion of it?
Uh, so that's how the whole IT or the computer industry works. So there will be huge change after every decade. So what it was in 95 or early 20s and what it is after 20 years is totally different. Where if you are having a website, that's a huge thing. That I have my own portfolio website. So that's a big thing. But in today's world, it is not. So there will be so many things will come. And again, it totally depends. Just like that, data science was in like everywhere 5 years back. Now data science is divided in many different parts so that people understand what data science, what data analysis is, and so on. So even Web3 is just a black box for people right now, but again it will be divided. So but Web3 is going to stay here for longer time because of its the positive side of it and the transparency it provides. So it's going to stay.
Okay, thank you. So Ranjan is asking, I have basic idea about tech, but I don't know how to really apply the skills. Uh, how should I go about it now?
Okay, so if you have idea about tech and if you don't know how to apply it, the best thing I would say, go for any internship or freelancing or something like that. It should not be, maybe it's paid, it may not be paid, you may be working for 2 months for free, but that worth your effort because you understand how to apply it. So when you know that, you can start your own project and continue.
Okay. So I have a pre-submitted question. How to prepare for core subjects like operating systems and networking?
Okay, so mostly there are few questions that are being asked from operating system or networking. And first thing you have to find out where when you talk about programming languages, building a product, and when you talk about theories like operating system and networking, what is the overlap between these two? So maybe multi-threading, a deadlock, and concept like starving. So these are the concepts are really actually there in the programming languages or when you're building the product. So there are 1,000 customers uh, executing on your same code. How do you make it multi-threaded so that data is not getting like here and there? So these are the parts you should read upon. And even in case of networking, so most of the software company don't ask questions from the networking, but yeah, if you are interested, core networking companies like Cisco, so they will ask questions like how do you define IP, what IP will provide to different systems, what basis of that. So these questions may be asked. What is the difference between HTTP, HTTPS, DNS? So you should read all these details.
Okay. So Anshul is asking how to advise on how to minimize the problem solving time. Also, what is the recommended time for each question to be solved in a DSA round?
Okay. So let me first answer the second question. So there is no such time. It totally depends on the company. Some companies expect you to solve two questions in 1 hour. Some companies expect you to solve just one question. So it totally depends on the company that you are interviewing with. And regarding how to minimize the time, so the only solution is to practice. So the more different type of question you practice, the more knowledge you have. So when a question is given to you, you can basically map, okay, this question may be solved using these three concepts. And when you know that and you have written the same code for 3 to 5 times previously, you can write it very quick. So don't just read the solution, try to write the solution. That will help you.
Right, practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ayush is asking how much time is sufficient for studying to get a placement? That's a very broad question. Just to
Yeah.
however best you can answer, Ayush.
Yeah. So I use again, it depends on at what speed, at what topics you are covering. But considering that you are with the average speed and preparing with the same speed with other people, so I would say 3 months of time would give you enough chance to cover the questions that you basically need to crack an interview. But if you feel that it's still not completed, take 1 or 2 months more.
Hello.
So that's
Hello,
not big.
sir. Sir,
Yes,
currently I am in third year. Okay.
okay.
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah, I can
Ayush.
hear you.
Sir, if I,
Yeah, Ayush, yes.
sir, currently I am in third year. If I start from now, then how much time is sufficient for get placement in the service-based company, not product-based company?
Okay, so you are in third year. So basically, you
Yes,
have
sir.
2 more years with you, right?
Yes, sir.
So you have 2 more years before you join the company, right, Ayush?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I
Not
would
towards sir 1.5.
okay. So what I would suggest, try preparing computing programming as much as possible, like different type of questions from different platforms, and at the same time, I would say try to create some side projects, maybe as a part of internship, freelancing, or a group project with friends, or maybe in college. Try to do that, so that in that way you have good competitive programming as well as your portfolio is well. So when companies are coming, if see competitive programming anyway, everybody will practice, right? So you should have something different from others. So that is what I'm saying. Try to get some internship or try to do some project so that you can explain them. I know competitive programming. I can do the projects as well. So you have 1.5 years, and that would be enough time to do both of these.
Right. I've
Okay, sir.
also
Thank
shared
you.
a I've also shared a link of an ebook a resource kit that we prepared for an ideal roadmap to learn and basically do interview prep. It takes about 12 weeks, as Mr. Saurav said, about 3 months is the ideal time. So I've added the link in the chat. If people want, they can access it. Sure. I'll ask the next question. Um, how many? So Sachin is asking a follow-up question to your earlier answer, I think, about Python. So he's asking that not many companies are interested in Python. So which language so is that a stat, Sachin? Are you here? Around 30 to 40% he's saying. So which
Okay.
language otherwise should be preferred?
So Sachin, I would say you are not wrong. You are partially correct about it. So I have seen. So again, it depends for which company you are applying. So if the company, I don't want to take names because that will may create another problem. So there are companies who are there or leading the industry for last 20 years. So the code written by them is already in Java or some other languages. So sometimes they don't prefer, or maybe they want people who can join the company and start contributing in next 15 days. So they don't have enough time so that you prepare is another language. So at that time, they don't allow people with Python knowledge because they are code in Java, and you will take another 1 month to learn Java. So, but again, if you are applying for the current startups, if you see their tech stack, most of them are written in either Python or Node.js, because these are the languages are used by startups to build their product very quickly. So don't worry about. So there are more than 1,000 companies in India. I would say, I think 1,000 is very less, right? So maybe 50,000 or
Yeah.
something like that. So even if you remove 30%, maybe 15 or 20,000 out of those, you have another, so 30,000 companies out there. So don't worry about those.
Okay. Awesome.
Hello,
Right.
sir.
So
Sir,
how? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next question is the Google name is Grand Academy. So how to go for a written interview in any company? How do we get a vacancy? I'm not very clear with the question, Mr. Saurav, if you
How to go for a written interview in a
any
company? How do you get a vacancy? Okay. So again, there are no ninja technique for this. So the only thing you can do is basically the different websites that we have, or different companies, those who are trying to bring the companies and students together. Upload your resume over there. Even if you are not getting, ask for your seniors or maybe unknown people in LinkedIn. So maybe you want to apply for Microsoft and you are not getting call from any HR. Look for people who work in Microsoft. Ask them whether there is any referral going on, any vacancy over there. Write a very simple message or mail to them with your CV. This is my skill set. This is what I'm looking for. Maybe out of 100, you may get reply from 5, but that's fine. That's the only way.
Right. So we also made an ebook on how to approach people on LinkedIn, how to get referrals and everything. So I've attached that too. Great. So Navya is asking, how do we get a job outside the country, and how can we look upon it if we want to work outside India?
Yes. So there are 2, 3 ways to do that. One is the first thing I said. You can reach out to people over LinkedIn, and you can ask whether they have any opening. Maybe they are working in US, UK, or Singapore. Whether there are any vacancies over there, whether they will give you visa to join that, and you can apply from there. There are few websites as well, like if you go to Stack Overflow, they have a section for jobs, and they specifically mention like, okay, whether they are providing visa or not, so you can apply from there. Other than
Hello,
that,
sir.
if you are specifically looking for any specific country, you can just search for whether they have any specific website to recruit people. You can apply from there as well.
I think somebody is trying to ask a question.
Yeah.
If you can maybe
Hello,
raise
sir.
your
One
hand.
question.
Yeah, please go on.
Sir, how can you know to apply for company outside India?
Okay, so one is LinkedIn, you ask people over there. One is in Stack Overflow, you have a section for jobs. There also you'll find vacancies outside of India. If not, you can search for specific countries and what portal they have for applying jobs. You can apply from there as well.
Okay, I hope that answers your question. Right, Mr. Saurav, do we have maybe another 5 to 10 minutes to finish the question?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, sure, thank you. Right, so someone is asking, what is more important, developing programming skills or learning new technology?
Again, programming skill is anyway needed, whether you are learning new technologies or not. Technology will come and go, but your programming skill will stay forever, right? And if you know one programming skill, learning the second one is very easy. So your programming skill is the core thing that should stay with you, and then over a period of time, if you want to learn new technologies or want to do new stuff, learn technologies for that.
I have less than 60% in 12th. How should I go about it in interviews? How should I go
Uh,
about it?
okay, so to answer this question, maybe if you are a fresh grad, you may face issues because there are companies who have this restrictions. I don't know why. So, but they have restrictions. So please don't like get panicked. Try to apply for companies who don't have this restriction. But once you have 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years experience, people don't care about how much percentage you had in 12. So you can again apply for your dream companies or so.
Right, and surely apply for startups. We really
Yeah,
don't care.
they really don't care, correct.
Right, so great. Right, I you can ask the question who has you have raised your hand, right? Please introduce your name also. Google is showing your company's name or something. Grand Academy. If you want to ask the question, what is your
Sir,
name?
my name is Sudhanshu Kumar Pandey.
Mhm.
I
Hi,
study at
Sudhanshu. Yes, ask.
BIT Mesra, Ranchi. Sir, one question, sir, there are vacancy on LinkedIn to get job outside India.
Yeah, even in LinkedIn jobs, you'll get that. Or you can ask people for to refer you as well.
You can also try for companies who you know have branches outside India. So maybe
Exactly.
you can go for lateral transfers eventually after working a few years, and the company itself can move you out of India. Right. Do you still have any follow-up questions, Sudhanshu? Okay. Is Rajan is asking, is Flutter application development technology better than Android and iOS application?
Uh, to answer that, I have not actually worked on mobile development ever, so maybe I'm not the right person to answer this question.
Okay. Is 300 question sets of DSA enough to be confident for an interview?
So even not 300, if you practice 100 or 150 questions and you are confident about the questions and the concepts in those questions, I think you are good to go. But if you have solved 300 questions and you are confident enough that questions from similar pattern comes and you will be able to solve, 300 questions is always good.
Okay. Ria is asking if someone does not have any internship experience but good personal projects on the resume, is that sufficient?
Yeah. So good personal projects is also a plus point. So if you don't have any internship, you don't have to worry about it. If you have good personal projects, you can explain them, what you have developed, how you have developed. That's also work for you.
Okay. So I did have a few more questions about just, I think the last thing, how to basically be more confident in interviews, or how to really brush up your communication skills, because there's a lot of competition in
Right.
campus placements, right? So on those lines.
Okay. So for confidence, one thing that I can say I usually do. So first thing you have to consider, even if I don't get selected in this round, I don't care. The first thing, when you say that I don't care, all the fear or all your ambitions, okay, I need to crack this interview, that goes away, and all the pressure from your head gets removed. So that's one way of getting confident. And then you have to have go through their previous questions. Many people have given interviews on those companies, whether you are able to solve those type of questions or not. That will give you more confidence again. So that is one thing. Communication wise, I would say, if you are fresh grad and you are not communicating with people enough, your communication will degrade eventually over a period of time. Try to have 2 3 friends and try to communicate with them maybe in English, and try to do mock interviews. There are many mock interviews platforms over there. Try to do mock interviews. That will help a lot because you get the real feedback from there. HR ever won't give you the feedback. So the feedback loop is closed. So try to do mock interviews.
Okay. So please, everyone who is still here, you can fill the feedback form. I've attached it in the chat box. I'll also send it over email, and whatever resources I've shared here, I'll just send them in the email with the session recording after the session. Rakib is asking, as a second year student, how should I try for internships?
Can you repeat that question, Tanvi?
How
Uh,
can I, as a second year student, try for internships?
okay. So for internship, I think My Way is one of the platform, right, Tanvi,
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah,
apply
definitely.
for internships. So yeah, I would say you can try with My Ways. They are doing a good job, and I think you can get an interview from there. And try to open the other channels as well. Like if you see any other platforms, you can upload your resume. Try to apply for as much as possible. And if you're eagerly looking for interviews, you don't have any criteria. I need this company, that company. Just apply for it because your experience counts.
Right, definitely. So you automatically, so each interview counts as a mock interview, as
Correct.
Mr. Saurabh just also mentioned. Okay, I think we're almost done with the questions. I hope I have not missed anything in the chat. Thank you, Mr. Saurabh. If anything I've left, please repeat the question. There are many messages, so I might have missed something. But definitely, thank you so much, Mr. Saurabh, for your time, for joining us and talking to us today. I'll surely send all the resources to everyone on email, and definitely we have a lot of resources on our platform. We have our own Python programming industry readiness program. The batch is starting soon. You can check out our website and you can find the details there. Navya, there is no certificate for today's masterclass. It's just a 1 hour knowledge sharing session. Surely we have certificates for projects and everything. Again, you can check our website. Right. Thank you, Mr. Saurav. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
thank you.
Tanvi and MyWays for organizing this nice masterclass. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and best wishes for the upcoming interview.
Sir, one more question, sir.
Yeah, please go on.
Sure.
Sir, what is the question pattern to give exam in any company?
What is the
Sir, what is the question pattern to give exam in any company?
question pattern here? Okay. So there is no such question pattern. So if you are looking for specific companies, go through their, I think there are so many websites out there. You can find their previous questions, what they have asked to different candidates. If you can find out a pattern or what are the different topics they actually prefer, you can prepare those. But I would say first do the computing programming, make one of programming languages, prepare that. That would help. After that, you can go for specific companies.
Sir, different company, different question.
Yeah, so there are like millions of questions out there, right? So it's very tough to say what question they will ask to you, because it's, let's say today I'm working with Oracle. Let's say tomorrow I work with a company XYZ, right? So the question that I'll be asking today and tomorrow would be the same. So it doesn't depend on the company as such. It depends on the individuals, what questions they prefer.
Sir, example that electronics engineering question pattern, sir.
I think the question pattern also depends on the job. Sudhanshu, maybe you can write us an email. I'll help you with some resources.
Yeah.
You can find our ID on our website anywhere. You can write us an email separately for some specific questions that you have. I'll reply to that email. I'll ask the team to reply properly. Right. Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Mr. Saurav. And thank you everyone for staying. I hope you have filled the feedback form. I'll make sure to send all the recording and everything to you by tomorrow. Sure. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Saurav.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
bye bye.